Officials say the boat travelled to Italy from the Turkish city of Izmir, with those on board trying to reach Europe through the Mediterranean. Nadim Baba has more.
The aftermath of a tragedy as they retrieve the dead. This video shows some of the dozens of bodies which washed up on the eastern coast of Calabria. And this is what remains of the boat they were on. More bodies were spotted at sea. The Coast Guards continued looking for survivors on Sunday. It was night time when the vessel foundered during rough weather on a rocky reef near the resort of Steccato di Cutro. It was reportedly carrying as many as 150 people. Many of them were from Afghanistan. Among the dead, women and children, including at least one baby. Scores of people have been rescued. They're being treated for physical injuries and trauma. In his weekly address in Vatican City, Pope Francis spoke about the victims.
I pray for each of them, for the missing and for the other migrants who survived. I thank those who are helping them and giving them assistance. May the Virgin Mary help these brothers and sisters.
Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, says she's deeply saddened, adding that EU nations must, quote, redouble our efforts to coordinate on migration and asylum. Critics say suggestions for a common asylum system and legal migration routes have gone nowhere for years. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has expressed her deep sorrow for the deaths, blaming human traffickers and promising to block migrant sea departures to prevent more disasters. Charities involved in sea rescues say that may be wishful thinking.
People, and when we say people, it's not only men, it's women and children, and this tragedy recalls that again, because children apparently sadly died today. People depart. No question of will they be rescued or not.
The United Nations has recorded more than 17,000 deaths and disappearances in the central Mediterranean since 2014. In the absence of Europe-wide cooperation, it's likely more will lose their lives trying to reach the shores of Italy. Nadim Baba, Al Jazeera.
Well, Caroline Willeman is a search and rescue deputy representative with Doctors Without Borders. She joins me now from Brussels. What can you tell us about this rescue operation and those that sadly died, including the baby that was just a few months old?
Good evening. So we have colleagues of our team in MSF Italy who are on the ground, who are providing psychological first aid to the survivors, who will be there as well tomorrow. While I have to say that our own team involved in search and rescue unfortunately was not involved, obviously, in rescue in this case. Any rescue for these people came late, and our search and rescue ship, the Geo Barents, to this day remains detained in Sicily.
Tell us about the land-based team now that will be providing psychological support to the survivors. What will they need now?
I mean, in first instance, what we try to do through psychological first aid is to provide a very, very basic sense of safety and security to people. Of course, this is extremely difficult. Our teams report that everybody that they have met have lost people on this journey. We're trying to help connect people with family members so they can inform them that they are safe. But of course, very many will also have to pass the message that not all family members have made it alive.
What about the 12 children who died in this?
I mean, unfortunately, the same horrendous, sad story that we have been seeing across the Mediterranean for years, indeed, as has been said, men, women, and children make this journey. Though I do also want to make very clear that any death at sea is one death too many, whether that is somebody under the age of 18 or somebody over the age of 18. Nobody should pay this journey with their lives.
Are there fewer rescue operations taking place?
Well, what we know is that over the last few months, Italian authorities are again making the work of civilian search and rescue operators like ourselves more difficult. So our ship is detained at this very moment. NGO ships who rescue people are being sent to ports that are very far away from the search and rescue zone, that are on the northern coast of Italy. So we sail many days with people on board to disembark them there and to sail back. At the same time, we also know that the vast majority of people who reach Italy tend to reach the country either independently or be rescued by the Italian Coast Guard. So the number of people actually arriving with the help of NGOs is a minority. But as unfortunately has been the case already for many years, there is the campaign against the work that we do, and that today has been shown again how very needed it is. Unfortunately, it continues to make our work more difficult, and the people who pay the price are the people who cannot be rescued by us.
Is it a question of having the capacity to find people when they are in these heavily crowded, tightly packed boats and vessels that are very unstable at sea? Is it a question of trying to find them more quickly and more efficiently through Coast Guard or other boats that might be at sea for NGOs? Or do people need to does there need to be a crackdown on the people smugglers in Libya and Turkey that are sending these people out to sea?
I can only say that having worked on a search and rescue vessel for almost a year, for having worked several years in camps in Greece where people arrive, I have never met anyone who made that journey if they would have seen another option. So people will continue to take these extremely dangerous journeys. This is the reality that we face. This is the reality that we face every single day for people who come from Libya. Every single time they will tell us, I would rather die at sea than go back to Libya. And so indeed what we have been asking for years is for state-led search and rescue capacity to be reinstated. And in the sort absence of that state-led capacity, that's where we as NGOs try to do our part, but for sure we cannot cover all the needs that are there.